Welcome to another edition of River Rat Shanty Shack project. Pontoon boat's going to be converted to a shanty shack, a drifter, and do the Mississippi tour. Okay, have already made some changes. I've changed my mind about a couple of things. I mentioned before I didn't want to have a setback on the sides because I felt like it might be too dangerous for somebody to by themselves to be running up and down the sides for whatever reason. Then I recalled the time when I was on my yacht that I lived, a trawler down in Florida for a few years, and I had to fend off a pretty large vessel coming at me that was drifting. His motor was dead. He was drifting towards me, and that long platform or sometimes pole called a bowsprit sticking out the front of that sailboat was coming right at me. I mean, it would have just put a big hole in the side of the boat. So I had to run down midway on the house and kind of just keep fending it off and walked it to the front of the boat until it was clear. So I got to thinking about this one here, and I said, maybe I should have it. Say, I don't know, 6 inches might be enough. I think something like that. As long as I put a long grab rail along the side of the house or something solid to hold on. I've got a 6-inch overhang here on both sides, underhang. Should be pretty good. That'll be good enough, I think. So I've changed my mind. I'm going to shorten this whole frame by about a foot, which will give me 6 inches on both sides, which is roughly about where it's at right there. So anyway, I guess I'll be taking this apart. Nothing much, about 4 screws on each corner, so it was it's a good thing to decide to change now because I wouldn't be able to do it later if I started all the framing. So again, that's where I'm heading to next. So let's get started. Okay, all I need to do here is remove all the screws. We just do this on all 4 corners. Alright, the next 3, when we're done with that, I'll be back. Okay, here we are. We're going to take 12 inches. I've measured this 12 inches back. This is the end that was cracked anyway, so I'm just going to eliminate that altogether. It only goes up to here. And we are 12 inches from the end of this board. Move this so you can maybe see better. This has got to come off anyway today. So I've got this at 12 inches. And what I'm going to do is saw that off, re-drill these holes. Remember, I used a pilot counter bore to pre-drill the holes so I don't get any wood split. Also, it tends to crush the wood, but this way here you get a nice flat surface. So that's what I'm going to do to all 4 corners. And put them aside for now because I thought the rain would wash this off a lot better than it did. I'm going to grab a scrub brush and some soap and actually do a really good job of scrubbing it before I actually build something permanent on it. That way I don't have to worry about it getting dirty again. I'm not too sure about some of this green. Looks moldy. Maybe not too good for your health. So that'll be the next step after I get these cut and set aside. And I'll get back with you after that. Switching batteries here soon. Okay, I still got to do the other end, and we'll get back with you as soon as that's done. Alright, 12 inches over. My neighbors must all think I'm talking to myself there. 12 inches over. Let's cut. Lower table. Next step is to drill this. Reassemble after all done. Hello again. First off, I want to apologize for the first 6.5 minutes of the video. It's something happened to the quality. I don't know if it was when I was doing all the conversions, combining everything, but I don't know. There's some kind of a weird thing going on there. So I switched cameras today. The camera I used was really meant for stills, even though it has a feature for video. Didn't work out so well. So anyway, my apologies. Meanwhile, let's get back to this. You can see here I've cut back the frame, the base frame for the house, and it's about 6 inches on both sides. And eventually what I'm going to do is use bolts like this. I'll drill a hole in the wood here. That'll go in the hole. I'll be doing it from the inside. And then I'll through bolt it through the floor, preferably near a beam. Probably right next to a beam here. It's got an L channel. Anyway, so I'll do that. It's got a big flat washer. So that should not move or go anywhere. There'll be four, a full length of the frame, up and down each side. Okay, the next step, I'm going to show you what I'm doing here. I pre-cut this one. Basically, I'm notching it. And I'm using a regular saw to cut the first two pieces of it and finishing it off with a sawzall. Now if you don't have a sawzall, you can always use a hand saw, but the object is to make that notch which fits here on the corner. This is going to be the corner post. There'll be a piece on the outside that I'll rip on my table saw to give me the flush fit on the outside or the front. So anyway, this is all four corners have to be done this way. And that's the very next step in building up this house here. I don't want to be too fancy with it, so only a few pieces of wood are going to be rather new, and then hopefully I can find some old pallets or something. I need to have this look like a shanty shack. I don't want this to look like some modern boat going down the river. And you know, also it's in the interest of keeping the cost down. I don't want this to cost me a lot of money. Like I said, my budget for the entire house, solar panel, batteries, everything included, shouldn't cost me more than $500. That's my budget. So we'll see how it goes. Okay, it's the same system as before, pre-drilling the hole. I'm using a counter bore bit or counter sink bit because I'm using flathead screws and I don't want to damage the wood. give as much strength as I can, so that's where we're at. Okay, the next step, I'm going to show you what I'm doing here. I pre-cut this one. Basically, I'm notching it, and I'm using a regular saw to cut the first two pieces of it and finishing it off with a sawzall. Now, if you don't have a sawzall, you can always use a hand saw. But the object is to make that notch, which fits here on the corner. This is going to be the corner post. There'll be a piece on the outside that I'll rip on my table saw to give me the flush fit on the outside or the front. So anyway, this is all four corners have to be done this way, and that's the very next step in building up this house here. I don't want to be too fancy with it, so only a few pieces of wood are going to be rather new, and then hopefully I can find some old pallets or something. I need to have this look like a shanty shack. I don't want this to look like some modern boat going down the river. And you know, also it's in the interest of keeping the cost down. I don't want this to cost me a lot of money. Like I said, my budget for the entire house, solar panel, batteries, everything included, shouldn't cost me more than $500. That's my budget. So we'll see how it goes. After I make the four posts on the corners, I'm going to be making rafters. These are going to be my rafters, and I like a nice, easy arch. That way it's easy to bend a piece of tin or plastic, PVC, corrugated plastic top or something. Anyway, there is a really easy way to make a very nice arch, and that is I measure however far I want my fascia end to be up on each end, and drive a screw, and then I drive a screw dead center. What I do then at that point is I use a pliable piece of wood. In this case, this is an old piece of trim, very easy to use, and you push it up against the three screws. What you end up with is a beautiful arc. Once you've made one, you can just keep copying and copying. Okay, one little side note. When you're using a batten like this to make your arch, you want to be sure to compensate for the thickness. Otherwise, you're going to end up with the wrong arch, which I did at first because I'd forgotten all about it myself. And that's why you always measure twice and only cut once. Now that's the general shape of the front.